Well, hello again sports fans. This is just a quick comparative video I thought some of you may be interested in. I've been having a few problems over the last couple of months with my Quantum Venture quadcopter. It's been flying off on its own on a couple of occasions and I've had a couple of crashes, and after one of the crashes the GPS unit stopped working. I couldn't see anything wrong with the connections and I went online to see if it was a common problem. There doesn't seem to be much online help from DJI with these sorts of problems other than to say, test your suspect unit with a known good one. I cracked open the puck to see if any of the components on the board had become dislodged after a crash, but couldn't see anything wrong with them either. One of the problems is that there's no power LED, so you don't know whether power is getting to the unit or not. So I decided the best thing to do was get myself a replacement puck, and I was looking for one locally and I came across this aftermarket version. It's built around a later chipset than the DJI unit, and the few reviews that I found about it seemed to indicate that the people that had purchased it were pretty happy with it and that it actually seemed to perform better than the original one. It also has the advantage of having two external LED indicators, one for the GPS and one presumably for the compass. It's fitted with a compatible DJI plug, but when I plugged it in and fired up the Venture, again I was getting the no GPS message on the OSD. Neither of the LEDs on the unit were lit, so I was pretty certain it was a problem with the power from the Venture. And sure enough, I did track down a dodgy power connector, which I fixed, and the unit started working. And so did the original unit. Just a pity that DJI didn't see fit to add a power LED to their unit. Anyway, I thought I'd compare the performance of the two, given that the aftermarket version has a later chipset. So I installed the original DJI GPS compass unit and fired up the Venture and took it out to the backyard and just let it sit there for about 12 minutes, I think, in total. The number of satellites that it located is highlighted in the top right hand corner of the OSD, and I think the most it found was 9, and it seemed to oscillate between 7, 8 and 9 over the period. I'm doing this at home, and normally out at the field I get between 10 and 11 satellites as a general rule. So I decided to leave the Venture powered up while I swap the GPS units, and this is what I'm doing here. As you can see, the no GPS message has come up on the OSD, and when I plug it in it immediately fires up and starts counting satellites. Needless to say, I'm pretty pleased that it quickly gets up to 12 or even 13 satellites, which is more than I've ever seen on the original unit. So I decided to leave it connected for roughly the same amount of time, I think about 10 minutes in the end, and it fluctuates a little bit, but I don't think it ever goes below 10, and it gets up as high as 16, so I think that's pretty conclusive from my point of view. It's finding more satellites, and I think that's got to be a good thing. So there seem to be plenty of places where you can get these online, so I won't bother putting a link into where I got mine here in Australia, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with mine, and the DJI one's gone back in the box and I'm using this one.